Welcome to Ready to Exhale, where we center Black women, their lived experiences, expertise, and rich stories. In each episode, we will gain a deeper understanding of what it takes to hold space for our own well-being. This is a brave space where you will be inspired to express your joy and live in the fullness of who you are. It's also a place where we are no longer waiting to exhale. So now, get ready to exhale and enjoy the show. Today, we are honored to have Dr. Colette Burnette as our guest. Dr. B is a trailblazer in education, leadership, and community impact. She made history as the first female president of Huston-Tillotson University, a historically Black institution and Austin's oldest institution of higher learning. With a background in engineering and technology, she has held executive roles in higher education, corporate America, and nonprofit leadership, including serving as President and CEO of Newfields here in Indianapolis. A dedicated servant leader, Dr. B has championed racial equity, education, and community empowerment through partnerships with major organizations like Apple and the Urban League. She also is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and a recipient of numerous awards recognizing her impact. I hope that you enjoy this conversation that I had with Dr. B as much as I did. Enjoy. All right. Well, it's so good to have you, Dr. B, Dr. Colette. Sometimes we call you Dr. B, sometimes we don't call you Dr. Colette. It's so good to have you on Ready to Exhale, the podcast. Welcome.
I'm excited. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm just so proud of you. So I'm honored to be here and have this conversation, like a conversation with my girlfriend.
Yes, just a girlfriend conversation today. It's so good to see you. So my listeners, we read your bio. We know you doing all the things, have done all the things. And thinking about who to have on the podcast, I've been trying to get you on for a while, and I'm glad it finally worked out because you really carry wisdom. And I've been able to benefit from that, and I'm excited that my listeners get to benefit from that today. So thank you for being here.
Life does that to you.
It does. Life does that to you. Well, take some time to tell my listeners a little bit about you, the work that you do. Who's Dr. B? Who's Dr. B?
So I'm a mother. That's who I am to my core. I have two adult children who I'm extremely proud of. One lives in the Inglewood, California. The other one lives in the Maryland, the DC area. One's a journalist, senior editor, and the other is a PR person. So an events PR manager. So I'm very proud of them at my core. I'm a wife. My husband is a retired Air Force officer. I spent 21 years of his 22-year career with him. That does define me somewhat as a military officer's wife. And I'm the daughter of Ruth. I'm the granddaughter of Naomi and Ozella, and the great-granddaughter of Mary. And I think it's important to say I can't call the names of my ancestors, the women in my lives before those women, because I don't know their names, but they are with me every single day. As a sidebar, my husband and I went to Ghana in December, and it was just life affirming in so many ways, just in so many ways. So I'm an engineer undergrad, and I have a master's in business. And I went back at the age of 55 years old to get my doctorate because I wanted to become a college president of a historically Black college. I had done a career shift from engineering into higher education, reached that ceiling in higher ed. And without that doctorate, I wasn't going to be able to become a president. As a Black woman, I had to have the credential. So I became the president of Huston-Tillotson University there in Austin, Texas, the first female of the combined institutions.
The
Yeah, exactly, the first. And they have a female president now who I'm very proud of. And that's really me in a nutshell. I've been working, I'm an Ohio State University graduate. I'm a big Buckeye fan. So I'm a big football fan, big Buckeye football fan. And I'm a true Ohioan. Grew up in Cleveland, uh, went to school in Columbus. My first job was at Procter& and Gamble in Cincinnati. So I'm a Buckeye through and through. I am an Ohio State girl. So that's me in a nutshell. If I had to have talking points about the mile marker things in my life, it would be those things. But being a mom, I think, is the greatest gift you can have. And spending time with your adult children is just even, you see the better parts of yourself. Or when something happens, my husband says, "Yeah, that's your child." But now that they're adults, I see the better parts of myself in both of them.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Well, we met when you accepted a job here in Indianapolis and you moved here, got
Mhm.
to know you. I mean, soon as we met, it was like
Yeah.
we just clicked. We just hit it off. Can we talk a little bit about your career journey? There's been some changes, expected, unexpected, and how that has impacted your well-being, your mental health, your well-being. I know change is hard, especially change that's unexpected. How have you navigated change? How did you navigate change from, being here and then having to move on to something else?
I think it's important for me to give context to how I became a change agent or how I became a person of how I adapt to change. So
Hmm.
I grew up in an all-Black community in Cleveland, and I went to school with the same people from kindergarten through high school. The
Hmm.
same people. I grew up in one neighborhood. My children didn't have that advantage because of my husband's career. So when I married when we got married, we've lived all over the world. And I guess the part of me that really has wanderlust, and the part of me that really I didn't get to experience it in my childhood is the experiencing different cultures, different places, different environments, different people that started really catching flames in me with my husband's career because we were moving almost every 2 to 3 years. In fact, our children went to 13 different schools. So
Wow.
that tells you the amount of during his service, our service, how transitional our life was.
Hmm.
But that was good for my career because I am a Black female engineer in an era where there just were so few Black people and then even fewer Black women as engineers. So I was like a marketable commodity because it was at the era where we were starting to really build diversity in the workplace. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. And
Mhm.
it was okay to want to have different thought and different experiences and different expertise. And I went to a very prominent engineering school, so that even added to my marketability. So every time my husband moved, I was able to get a job at a great place. He was stationed at the Pentagon. So I was in DC. I worked at the Washington Post. We were in Washington State. I worked at the Washington State Department of Transportation. So I had a lot of transition in my life. So when I got to a place and when you say expected versus unexpected changes, those were all unexpected changes when we started moving. But the expected changes inside of me was I don't think I ever really wanted to be an engineer. I was good in math, a girl, good in math. So all the adults around me told me you should be an engineer. But I have always had this inner passion of teaching people, seeing people build their lives or flourish or blossom. So I made a dramatic shift from corporate to higher education when my husband decided to retire. So
Mhm.
that was an expected change. I took a leap of faith. And
Mhm.
then, like I said earlier, wanted to accept, I got to this glass ceiling as a corporate person, then I got to the glass ceiling in higher education. And I think the ceiling is concrete for
Mm.
Black women in some cases. It's
Mhm.
it's harder to shatter, but it shows our resilience and our power, our superpower, because we shatter them all the time. We shatter it all the time. It's a perceived ceiling, and we shatter it all the time. Perception is real. So when I got in the latter part of my career, my senior level, the tall trees get the wind.
Mm.
President, when I was a vice president, I would often look at my president and think, God, he is crazy. Why does he care about these things? Why is he in the weeds on this? Why is he having this kind of reaction to this? But then
Mm.
when you become the president and you are responsible, that you're that tall tree, you're getting all the wind. And you see you understand that your responsibility is to really take care of this institution and let it flourish. And in higher education, you're making decisions that affect thousands of people's lives because they're doing something with education. It's the great equalizer, and have a deep affinity for historically Black colleges.
Mm.
So I retired my presidency after 7 years. The average lifespan of a president now is 5 years. It used to be 10 to 15, but the job has become so demanding. It's a big job. It's a very fulfilling job, but it's a big
Mhm.
job to be a university president. It's extremely rewarding, but it's actually extremely draining. So
Mhm.
I decided that it was time for my institution and time for me to be able to pass the baton to someone else. One of my mentors, and I believe very deeply in mentoring, one of my mentors told me, always leave the party when you're having fun. The
Yeah.
university was doing well. It still had needs and things. It still had a lot of room to grow and prosper, but it was in a place where I could comfortably pass the baton on to the next leader. Like my plateau is their,
Mhm.
my platform, I'm sorry, is their plateau.
Yeah.
So I decided to retire, and then I was like, okay, now what do I want to be when I grow up? So I took a risk and switched, if you will, sectors once again, going from corporate to higher education, and then higher education to a cultural institution. And in my mind, well, actually, not in my mind. This is just really factual in my life. When you are a leader of an entity, those skill sets are very transferable. I really want women to understand that sometimes we get stuck in a space and we don't think that our skill sets are transferable. That being said, you always have something to learn.
Mhm.
I look at them as assignments. And
Mm.
with every assignment, you don't really truly understand the assignment until it's behind you. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
I
Ooh, 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 ooh. You don't truly understand the assignment
until it's
until it's
behind you.
behind you.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
told y'all there was going to be some wisdom.
It's like working out a complicated math problem. That's your assignment, and you don't really understand it until you solve it. So
Mm.
with the assignment, you don't really understand it until it's behind you.
Good.
So in that particular assignment, I learned a lot about myself, about humanity, um, about when you're hired for something, you have a perception of what that something is, and it may not marry what the perception is of the organization itself. And then
Mhm.
you have to make that difficult inside of yourself. You have to come to grips with maybe this is not the fit for me for whatever reason that is. It could be anything. So I have since counseled young people to tell them that you have to be super conscious and aware of what your assignment of what you're doing in this workplace because you spend a lot of time working,
That's right.
8 to 9, in some cases 10 hours for some people working, and you spend less time with your family during a week if
Hmm.
you are working those hours. So that's something you have to be conscious of. You have to be conscious of the fact that you feel like you're a fit, like something like it's really working out for you. So switching from I just really want to emphasize the point of you don't know where your life's going to go. And I think that's a blessing
Yeah,
because I would have blocked many things in my life if I had known, if I had had the opportunity to block that blessing. I would have blocked it.
Sure.
And I think I'll give you an example. When I went to Austin, Texas for my position with the presidency at Huston-Tillotson, I wanted a big school. I wanted, the big marching band. I wanted it was a state school, just huge campus, lots of students. But that's not what God had for me. That was
Mhm.
not my assignment. So when I first went there, though, I'm like, this is not, when I first was going through the process, I was like, this is not really what I want. But then after I got there, that was exactly where I was supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I so I would have blocked one of the greatest windows of my life. Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of Yes, she talks about that, how
Mhm.
she had been saying no to things. And then when she committed herself to saying yes to change or something that's uncomfortable, it became some of the best moments of her life. And that is truly my testimony.
Mm.
Even those unexpected things that don't pan out the way I thought they would, those are divine detours where we still grow from those things. We still advance. We still blossom and flourish. It might be painful,
Yeah.
um, but you still blossom and flourish. It's like being put in the fire to
Yeah.
be stronger,
Yeah.
and then you come out of that fire a stronger person. And the magic, your vessel, your next assignment, given how you've grown, you're even better at the next thing.
Yeah, I'm hearing transition and change instead of looking at it as a negative thing.
Right.
While it may be painful,
Mhm.
it is and has been for you, specifically in your career, beneficial,
Mhm.
has worked for you.
Right. When my husband, I loved Washington, D.C. I love living. I'm a big city girl and I'm married to a country boy. So he was happy when he got an assignment out of D.C., out of the Pentagon. He was happy. And we were going to Colorado. And I was like devastated because I had the right hairdresser. I had my kids were in the good schools. I had my girlfriends. I had my circle, my road dogs. I had a nice car. We lived in a nice house. I was living large there in
Yeah,
DC.
yeah,
What are you talking about? We're going to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I was very resistant to it with a little
sure,
attitude. Um,
sure.
then when we got to Colorado Springs, Colorado, I had great friends, my sister circle. I got involved in my sorority. Colorado Springs is beautiful. So I was blocking it just because I was leery. And then I'm like, what job am I going to find? Now I got to leave my job at the Washington Post, which was an exciting place to work. And I ended up being an entrepreneur. I started my own IT company. If it did well. So all those things I couldn't anticipate happening. So I had to you have to let your guard down and go into it with this mindset of this is my next assignment.
I love.
And and over time I've learned that God uses you as a vessel in
Mm,
those moments as well. And you don't get to choose. My spiritual mentor told me, you don't get to choose where you get to be a vessel.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You don't get to choose.
Don't get to choose. I've heard you talk about in transition, in change. I'm
Mhm,
hearing community. I'm
mhm,
hearing you found your people. I'm
mhm,
hearing you leaned in,
mhm,
right? You found your community, you found your people. And right now, especially where we're at in our country, what I've been saying over and over and over again is we are going to have to really lean into community,
mhm,
lean into each other, lean on each other, because community is going to get us through, right? And our ancestral
mhm,
history, we've had to depend on each other. And I think there's something about that that feels like it's really important right now to be very intentional about your community. So, how has community been crucial for you in the changes and transitions in your life?
So, my driving force in my work and the positions that I've chosen to apply for or to go for, and then the positions that I've found myself in, have all been around building what Dr. King he didn't coin the term, but he used the term building beloved communities. That's been my whole thing since I got into higher education, building that beloved community. And that means a lot of things. There are so many layers to that. There's, the equity, the education, the fair housing, the good health care, the great jobs, however you define success in your life. All that is within the boundaries of building a beloved community. And we all have to find our own form of activism.
Mm.
So, um, and you don't have to be Angela Davis. I saw Angela Davis speak in Austin once, and she said she didn't even know she was Angela Davis. She was just a girl with a big afro.
Mhm.
And she was telling the people that the audience that we don't have to be the Angela Davis type activist. You can really work for building that beloved community, building that equity, or building flourishing people's lives within your own world. It's like what you're doing
Mhm.
with Exhale.
Mhm.
That is a form of activism
Mhm.
because you are shoring up, pouring into, and building community. And I think that's where our resilience comes from. And I know that resilience sometimes become having to be resilient, particularly for Black women, that you always have to be resilient. Oh, you're so strong, you're so tough. People tell me that all the time. I'm an iron glove. I'm an iron glove with a iron fist with a velvet glove over it. Um,
Mhm.
so you always have to be, but at some point, having to be resilient to thrive is abusive at some point. So,
Mhm.
but we still have to be that person, and you have to have support around you and encouragement. Like in some of my um, worst moments in my life, I've had to really just retreat, and it's almost as though my community, but mostly women, my family, my sister, my daughter, and my core family is one thing, but I have this flourishing of women around me that really almost like the visual moment for me is they hover over me and protect me like umbrellas all around me. And I've experienced the power in that.
Mhm.
Um, and there's nothing like it. But if I had not spent time in building and pouring into that community, then when I needed it, they wouldn't have been there to pour into me and to encourage me and support me because we are all going to have those moments. We
Right.
all fear something. We all have been hurt. We all have loved something and lost it. We have
Mhm.
all found the love forever of our lives. All those, we're all human. We all have those things happen to us, and we have to have that community. And at these austere times right now, with what's going on, particularly in our country, we have to have community to ignore the noise because
Yeah.
it's designed to disrupt and destroy.
Mhm.
And by I mean the things that happen to remove, remove, to break up communities so that
Right.
whether it's the community of the press, the
Right.
community of the family, the community of the medical system, the community of research. It's those are communities within communities. So it's designed to break those communities up. And our strength comes in our numbers
Right.
and in our unified messaging. And we
Mhm.
have to ignore the noise and stay focused on what's really important, which is really building that beloved community in
Yeah.
all levels. That's what advances a nation. That's what advances a people. And that's
Yeah.
what advances the globe.
That's right. What a visual you gave about your community hovering over you.
Mhm.
And I felt that in my body because I've experienced that. I've
Mhm.
experienced, and it's for me as well, it's come from Black women
Mhm.
that have
Mhm.
fiercely showed
Yes.
up for me, protected me, um, loved me deeply. I think about my mom, I think about my sister, I think about my cousin, I think who can look at me and see all of me and love all of me
Unconditionally.
unconditionally and
Yeah.
just keep loving and keep loving and keep loving, right? And how that support um, is gives me an opportunity
Mhm.
to thrive. As Black women, we have everyday stressors, and those stressors are compounded by systemic racism. This stress weathers our mental and emotional health. It's imperative to move this stress out of our bodies so we can live healthier and happier lives. Exhale app is a resource to partner with you in your well-being journey. To download, go to the App Store and Google Play. Now, let's get back to our episode.
I saw it in my daughter's life.
Mm,
She went to, because of my husband's career, they were often in predominantly white environments.
mm-hmm.
And when she went to school in New York, and she found her tribe. And she has all kinds of friends. I mean, I have all kinds of friends. I mean, of all hues, nationalities, everything, because we've lived all around the world. Um, but she found her tribe.
Yeah.
Her people who will tell you your hair is, who's doing your hair, or people who will, get you hooked up with we both love shoes. My daughter and I both love shoes. Someone tell you to go get the best shoes. Someone who they got your shoe size, they'll share, exchange with you. Those who will laugh with you until you cry and cry with you until you laugh.
Mm,
It's a commonality that you just can't quite put your arm around, and it's okay. I mean, it's just okay. It's um, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. My college roommates, um, we could not talk for a year,
mm-hmm.
literally,
Mm-hmm.
and then talk on the phone, or we meet up somewhere just to get together, and it's like we talked yesterday or an hour ago.
Just pick up where you left off.
We left off because it's that sense of community.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are your people. That support is so important, having support. And a lot of times as Black women, we move into spaces, specifically our work environments, where we don't feel as supported or have that support. Um, Exhale did a survey, about our state of self-care for Black women survey. We surveyed over 1,000 Black women. And out of those surveyed, 53% of them say they don't believe their current work environment provides support or supportive resources for them to thrive.
Mhm.
Why is it important that we have that support, especially culturally relevant resources and support specifically for Black women?
When I read that, I was, how one of those things, you know it, but you don't know it till you know it. Uh,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
like I read it, like I was like, oh yeah, that's real. That's real to
Mhm.
my own life. The movie Hidden Figures, I think,
Mhm.
kind of is a, is a it's a depiction of what happens to Black women who are not in environments that are culturally supportive of them. And even though now we can drink from the same water fountains, the same coffee pots, use the same restroom facilities, there's still a subliminal something there of where you're not in the fabric of this organization. It's an unspoken. And I
Mhm.
think that's why it's important that you find a support system within your workspace, but also outside of where you can talk. That movie Hidden Figures changed my life,
Mhm.
perspective of my own life, because I'm an engineer. So when I saw it's about four women, all who went to historically Black colleges, I'd like to say that sidebar. And when I was sitting there watching that movie, there's a scene where Taraji Henson goes into the big bay of engineers, and she has her little small box, and they all stop talking and look at her. That actually happened to me.
Mhm.
After I got married, we were stationed in Georgia, and I worked on the base. And I was hired, um, because of affirmative action. They had to interview me. They didn't have to hire me. They had to give me an interview. So they could not hire me because I was highly qualified.
Mhm.
And I walk into this bay, and it's all white men, and literally it froze, and it was just me. And that's where your resilience, your how you manage yourself, how you let your gifts make room for you. You just stay true to your authentic self, use your skills because I'm just as smart. You have to tell yourself, my ice is just as cold, my water is just as wet, I am just as smart, I'm just as qualified. And you have to tell yourself that because sometimes we tell ourselves the opposite because we're not wrapped up in the culture of the organization is not wrapping you up and making you feel secure and supporting you, promoting you. So we have to sometimes there's a song, I can't think of it right this second, but it's something you have to feed yourself. You got to tell yourself, you got to sing to yourself. And that's really important to make your own cultural space and stay true to your authentic self. I just think it's so important that we support each other in the workplace. I used to tell my students, my female students, do not bicker among yourselves over crazy things because flowers of wildflowers, they all bloom in the same field. Or if
Mhm.
we have a flower garden, the daisy doesn't look over at the rose and say, I'm more delicate than you are. Or the rose doesn't look at the sunflower and say, I'm more beautiful than you are. They complement each other. Some of the best bouquets are all different kinds of flowers. So we in the workplace, we have to build that kind of network, and for women in particular, and then for women in general, and then Black women in particular, you got to build that space. I think it's just so important that we support each other in that space because it is necessary. It's no different than if we had green people.
Right.
Green people would want to feel comfortable being green
Yeah.
because, and then you look at our history, you cannot ignore, the what's coming with us in our history and the impact that that has had on the workplace. And it's often just it's embedded into the fiber of the organization itself. It's systemic.
Mhm.
So we've got to work through continuing to be um, strong internally and conscious of what you're managing. My doctor, when I retired from my position of at HT at the university, and then I went on to the second experience that I had, my divine detour experience. I started having some health challenges.
Mm.
So I went to my doctor that I've gone to for years, maybe 20 years, and for her to give me a full checkup. I went back to Ohio, because I've kind of stayed connected with her over the years. I went back to Ohio to get a full checkup. My back, I had back problems, my shoulders, my neck, my ear, my hearing. My body is all of a sudden things just started happening. And she said two things to me that I shared with several of my circle, my tribe. One, she said, our organs cry the tears we don't.
Mm.
So when I lost my
Mm.
mom, and I had tremendous grief from that.
Mm.
So your organs, but I'm strong, I'm resilient. I'm a university president. I'm that iron fist, but I'm still soft. And I had your organs cry the tears you don't. So
Mm.
I would cry. I used to go to a movie, what was it, a quote unquote tear jerker, just to kind of get that, like get myself a
Just
good
need to
cry, that
cry.
ugly face cry, just that
Yeah.
cry, because everything,
Ugly face,
you know,
not.
my husband, my children, my family, my parents, aging parents, all those things, just get that good cry, that cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second thing
Mm.
she said to me, she said, your body, she said, you have not you preach self-care, and you say you do self-care, but have you really been doing self-care? So she said, your body was like a car that had been on a racetrack, just going round and around and around. And then all of a sudden it's out of gas. So you got to pull it into the pit stop. The engine blows up, the tires fall off, everything happens because the car finally stops.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I said,
Yeah.
that is so real because I would get my checkups, but I wasn't really working out the way you're supposed to. My diet, because you're eating out a lot, you're not eating a good breakfast.
Mhm.
My dad says, all those things. I might forget my vitamins sometimes, just the stress of every day. And then COVID happened, which is an
Sure.
extremely stressful period to be, over an institution and managing, navigating through that. So
Mhm.
those two things she told me, our organs cry the tears we don't. So get those tears out. It's healthy for your body, or that's why it was designed that way. And
Mhm.
then don't be that car running around that track, not going in the pit stop
Yeah.
for routine maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. I mean, that's why Exhale exists, right? Like we um, want to be and are a resource for Black women to support them in their everyday care of their mental health and well-being, right? So if I'm practicing stillness, if I'm practicing really taking care of myself, loving myself, affirming myself, then that is fueling me so that when I do hit a hard moment, because we will, um, then I have the capacity, the ability to move through those really tough, hard emotions. Doesn't make it easier, but I do have a capacity and the energy and because I've been pouring into myself to move through, right? And so that's, I say this all the time. Let's cultivate practices, daily practices in our life of self-care. How am I caring for myself? How am I kind of turning toward myself, tuning into myself, listening to my body, and having those regular things that I do every day. Now, sometimes it happens at noon, sometimes it happens at 6, sometimes it happens at 7 in the morning, right? But when am I pausing to breathe? Am I pausing to exhale? Am I giving my shoulders an opportunity to just relax and
Yeah,
not be
it's
so
weird.
tense? My shoulders up to my ears. Like, can I just take a minute and exhale and right? That's all like self-care. It's like what you're talking about. It's going into the pit stop, going into the pit stop, going into the pit stop and caring for myself. I'm curious around your self-care. How do you define self-care and what are some of your practices now? Like how do you take care of you?
So, and I've learned this over time. Obviously, I was not good at it, and I've learned it over time, and learned it through being forced to sit myself down. Like, okay, you've had some trauma. You got to sit down. You gotta you gotta you gotta sit down. So that being so I'm saying this in with I'm not saying that I've been doing this since I'm 20.
Right.
Learned it over time.
Sure.
Self-care for me is that moment of stillness and quiet.
Yeah.
It's like the quieter I become, the more I hear.
Mm,
If I have all the noise around me, and noise doesn't have to be noise, you know, like a noisy street or all the things that are happening around you. Noise is sometimes in your mind, in your head, like you're constant thinking
sure.
something. So if I just sit still, and stillness for me can be just sitting out in my backyard. I love, we have just a lot of greenery back there, and I'm a big flower fan. Sunflowers are my favorite. And my husband had planted sunflowers in the back, so I could just sit out there. And if it's just 15 minutes, it's just for me to just have quiet. I'm not thinking about something. Quiet could also be a really good book in me. I'm an avid reader, and I could curl up on a chair and read a really, really good book and get lost in someone else's life. So my own life is quiet.
Yeah.
So that is true self-care for me. Now I walk, and I bought myself a walker inside of the house because the brutal winters there in Ohio, it was too cold for me to go outside and walk. It was
Sure.
brutal. So I bought a walker, just something to put in front of the TV where I can just walk, and I walk through a show, one of my favorite shows, and you look up and the time is gone and you've really got steps in because was making excuses. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's self-care for me. I love to walk because it makes me quiet. It makes me,
Sure.
just quiet. You're just concentrating on the steps of the walk. I don't listen to a podcast or anything when I walk because I find that I'm not absorbed in what's happening around me, looking at, my community, my neighbor, just kind of resting. Because if I'm listening to a podcast or I'm listening to something, then I'm paying attention, like a book on a table. I'm paying attention to that, and I'm not really into my walk. So I like the way it feels to be walking.
Yeah, to be present.
And also self-care for me is travel.
Yes.
I'm a traveler. It's
Yeah.
a big world out here. And
Mm,
we don't experience it unless we go to it. We think we're the US of the world, and we are not. And there's
mm,
also so much to see within our own country. I mean, there are 50 states, all different.
mhm,
And a friend of mine who's here from London, he said he took a bus from New York City and then he got on Route 66 on the bus, Greyhound, into California. He thought he had been through 4 different countries. And I started thinking about that. We don't even experience the diversity in our own country, and that will stretch you and
yeah.
really ground you in who you are. You might find something magical out there.
Mm,
But and women, we tend to put it off, put it off, put it off. So I'm going to spend the money on something,
yeah.
and I'm going to use it as my own self-care, and I want to travel and see a different place, stretch myself. I went to Colombia, um, Medellin, Colombia, and there's so many stereotypes about, with the gang violence from the 90s, and
Mhm,
a whole different place. And
mm,
I went to the Festival of the Diaspora. So there
mm,
were people all around the world, and I grew just in my
yeah.
own self, and who I am as a person, and the role that I play in this building these beloved communities. It affirms me, gives me tools to take back for me to be stronger and more effective in my own work, as
Yeah.
opposed to be sitting in my own space and thinking the world is revolving around me. It's not. It's a
Sure.
big
Yeah, I'm hearing too something really powerful about seeing the world through your own eyes instead of someone else's eyes or what you've read or what you've heard about a people or a place. Like you going and experiencing it for yourself is it grows you. It expands you as a human, right? As a person.
Well, I
Yeah.
tied it to my husband's military career too, because like I said, I would have stayed in Ohio my whole life. I
Yeah.
just would have stayed in Ohio my whole life. And because of marrying a military officer, it forced me into change that was uncomfortable for me in the beginning. But
Mhm.
it was a lifestyle that I had chosen.
Mhm.
And I made it uncomfortable for him in the beginning.
Right. Sure.
I was missing my mom, my dad, my friends,
Oh yeah.
my food, all those things. But then after I let myself relax, and rid of my own noise. That's my own stereotypes, my own noise. And we also often also think we can't do it. Find you a good financial advisor early.
Mm. Mhm.
Say what you want to do. That's something that in hindsight, if I, hindsight being 2020, I wish I'd done that earlier on in my life. So I tell my children that now. It's so important that you get a good financial advisor, because that's going to be also pouring into your future. So that do what you need to do now so you can do what you want to do later.
I love that. I love that.
It's life's not a dress rehearsal. You can't go back and do it over again.
This
So
is it.
take advantage of those assignments that you're getting and grow through each one of them.
That's right. Well, I am want to congratulate you because you have a new job. So to speak, talk about change, career. Here you are in your 60s. And this is really for me encouraging to see you and watch you. You're changing again. You are shifting into another place and you're going to be leading. Tell us about
So
your new job. What's coming up for you?
I I know this about myself. I can't sit still. I have a lot of energy. I have so much passion for young people, and so much passion for um, God's earth and the world and the globe and just the beauty of it all and the fascination of nature and science. I am a scientist at heart, and I can't sit still about it because I know that it has such a there's so much to offer. There's so much to do, and education is the great equalizer. And there's education comes in all ways. So that being said, after my retirement, I still spoke, I still sit on panels, I still mentor people, I still do all those things, and I just couldn't sit still. So this offer, and I won't even call it an offer, it's like a gift. It's an
Mm.
opportunity, it's a gift. And I know that it's that vessel at God's hand because it's a full circle in my life where I go back to a city that I love. Indianapolis is a phenomenal city. It has a lot of things that Austin does, well, full circle back to Austin. I went from Austin to Indy, and now I'm going back to Austin. And Indianapolis is a really sexy city. I say that all the time.
Mhm.
That Midwest
Mhm.
modesty where it doesn't embrace its sexiness, where Texans say like we are the stuff.
Right.
Um, so I had an experience, I love Austin, love I have a big community there. And then I went to Indy, I built a community there. I did have a good experience with the community of Indianapolis. But now I'm going back to Austin. So it's as though Indy gave me gifts, tools, insight to go, even the work that I was doing in Indy is subsumed a little bit into the work that I will be doing there in Austin. So I'm excited. It's a gift, and it came from like nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, one of those things where you just don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going. So you're like on a road trip and
Mm-hmm.
the next stop is. And I just think that's exciting. It's
Yeah.
fun. Actually, I don't have a choice whether to like it because it's happening.
Yeah.
So I'll be the CEO of Waterloo Greenway Conservancy there in Austin. And the Conservancy is doing the construction of revitalizing what's called Waller Creek. And it's 1.5 miles through the city, through the downtown area of Austin, from the north, from one end all the way to Lady Bird Lake through the city of Austin. And it's really just extraordinary what's happening there with building parks along the way, parked with different types of personalities, if you will, to
Mm-hmm.
serve all of Austin and to really make it continue to build into making it just a great place to live, building a lovely community,
Building community.
finding my own form of activism.
Mm.
That is my form of my what I think is my role in the world to be able to do things to help people go and be with family, be in community, be on a date,
Yeah.
have a cup of coffee, go on a walk with your dog, all those things that really just are really what life is really about. It's a lot of pain in the world, and we all have it. So we got to find these avenues to work through it and to take on God's grace
Yeah.
in your own individual life.
So beautiful. Congratulations.
I'm excited. It's a blessing. It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's a gift. I'm really excited for you. I'm excited to watch. Um,
You
check
have
in
to
every now and then. I'll come visit.
Austin. I want to go back to something you said. So now it's on the podcast. So I'll just play the podcast back to you if 2 years pass and if you haven't come to visit me there in Austin, Texas. I want to go back to something that you said about exhale. Um,
Mm.
if there's a listener that does not subscribe and does not have the app on your phone, I'm going to tell you from experience how during one of my toughest moments as a leader in a what I would call a tense situation, they come, a complex situation, they come. My phone gave me the message that I need to just stop and breathe. And there's so many advantages to the app itself. But that in and of itself is a selling point for me, um,
Mm,
because there are no coincidences. Coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous.
mm,
And if I just push that phone aside, but in that moment, I was like, you know what? I need to breathe because
yeah.
my shoulders were up to my ears. My stomach was tight, my fists were clenched. I could feel the tension in my body.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I needed to just breathe. And I lived through it. I'm sitting here talking to you.
You
It wasn't the end. You
wasn't
know,
the end.
it really is. No one was going to die, but I that you get all caught up in these moments where you just have to breathe. So if you're not a subscriber, even just that for your phone to read, just for you to get a message, a simple, subtle, beautifully designed message that you could tap and just take a few seconds for you to just take a breath and be still and be quiet. Just be quiet for a moment. Now you tell your children, just calm down for a moment.
Down. Exhale is your little nudge, little tap on your shoulder. Just calm down. Just breathe. Just breathe. I love that. That makes me feel so good that you had that experience. That's the intent. That's the intent is just pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. This too shall pass.
And it will.
True. And it
Be
will. And we
strong.
want you to be on the other end healthy,
Right.
right? I want us to be on the other end healthy because these systems at play are
Yep.
designed to weather us, our mental health, our
Mhm.
well-being, our physical health. And if we could just return to our breath, I believe there's power in that.
I totally agree with
That
you.
that helps to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, ushers in relaxation, reduces stress, reduces anxiety, right? And that then physically, it impacts us physically. If we're holding stress all the time, it makes us physically sick. So we got to move that trauma, move that stress, move that anxiety through our bodies. And we can do that through our breath, through our
I
breath.
I'm a witness to that. I'm a witness to that. I experienced it. I read about it. I had, I did talks about it.
Yeah.
I've talked to groups of women about it. And then it's almost like riding a bike until you get on the bike and you experience it yourself.
Mhm.
Then, once again, that's a gift to me because now I have a lived experience. So, when I'm talking about it, I'm telling you from something that I know, not
Right.
something that I think. It's something that I know that
Yeah.
it's a very, very real thing. And that word that you use about weathering, that's a very, very real thing. And the adage about putting the mask on yourself first, that's a very real thing. You cannot be a martyr and trying to take care of everyone and not take care of yourself. I shouldn't say you can't be a martyr because you can be a martyr. So if you are acting as though if you are being a martyr,
Yeah.
and taking care of everyone, but you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of your entity, whether that be your family or your job. So you're not really taking care of them by not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So if I'm taking care of myself, I'm therefore stronger and more equipped, if you will, to take care, to be a nurturer and a caretaker for other people.
Yeah.
That's why they say take care of the caretaker.
That's right. Yeah.
And but with our mental wellness, have someone you can confide in,
Mm-hmm.
trust. And that might be a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
that might be a parent. It's different for different people. That might be a sibling, it might be a friend, it might be your aunt. But you have to have someone who you can trust unconditionally to share your angst and your fears with to get it out of yourself. For someone that's a good listener, a good sounding board, that's not going to judge you and not give you bad advice, not mislead you, but just somebody that you can really confide in, that you can trust. We all need that. We
Yeah, we
all
have to have our people.
you
We
have to have your
have to
people.
have our
I
people.
call
We
it
have
my
to have
kitchen cabinet.
your kitchen cabinet.
Yeah. Because my husband and I were talking one day, and I said something about being on the cabinet, about the cabinet, because I sat on the cabinet, and he said something, and he said, "You need to." He said, "What?" He was teasing me. He said, "It's the kitchen cabinet," and I thought, you know what? I have a kitchen cabinet. It's my spiritual mentor, my friend who will make me laugh. Just if I just need a belly laugh, I have a friend that she could be a stand-up comedian
Hmm.
and who will like that I can trust unconditionally. And my sister, that's my person in my kitchen cabinet. And then I also have someone who will give me honest feedback. Like, girl, you're doing too much. Oh, wait, but say it in love. They're not saying it to criticize me. It's just,
Yeah.
are you okay? So those people comprise my kitchen cabinet. And I have a goal that I'm going to have something for my kitchen cabinet because many of them don't really know each other
I
because
love that.
of the country, the world. So they don't really know each other. So that's on my bucket list to have something where I can have my tribe, my kitchen cabinet.
They got to get to know each other now. I
Exactly.
love that. Maybe you could go on a trip. Maybe this is another
Oh,
travel.
that is my goal.
I
Be
love
closer
that.
to, right, right.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed my conversation with my girlfriend, my sister friend.
Conversation with my sister friend. It's always a pleasure and joy to be in your presence. If folks want to keep up with you, what you're doing, where do they find you? Can they follow you? Are you on Instagram? Where are you at?
I'm on everything. I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky, and I'm on everything as Colette PB. Colette P is in Pierce, B is in boy, and then I'm on Facebook as Colette Pierce Burnette. And same thing with LinkedIn, but I'm on everything. I think social media is a way to stay connected. I wish I had when I was, earlier because it helps me stay connected with my friends because people are
Yeah,
so, all over the place, but it helps you stay connected. So
yeah,
please follow me, connect with me. I love connections, particularly with my people.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here and being on the show today. All right, followers, make sure you go follow Dr. B, keep up with what she's doing, and thank you for being here.
Exhale is a social movement prioritizing the overall well-being of Black women. You can join our movement by subscribing to this podcast and downloading Exhale app, and by continuing to prioritize yourself and your well-being. Keep taking deep inhales and long, long exhales. Until next time.